All right. Okay, this seems to work. So we are live, although I had some issues today, so we'll see how this goes. And yeah, alright, let's just start. So what I want to do today is to try to use the knowledge from last time and try to use my end-to-end tests to basically guide my end-to-end tests. Yeah, to guide my end-to-end tests. So basically I have this coverage report that I showed last time and did pretty lousy job of explaining of how to set up the coverage. And what I want to do today is to use this coverage report, basically open it up like this. Let's just show it in Finder. And I'll open it in the browser, hopefully. Yeah, here I got it. And look into the different files here and basically try to get this coverage as high as possible. So we'll see how that goes. And the last time I think I did pretty well with the collection. So we covered all of the files, and I can see that we covered some of them quite a lot. And some of them, like this one, which one was that? This if what I did last time was try to reach this one, because this one was interesting. So basically that was the function that when I want to create a new board on my app and I start typing, and then I basically cancel that. So this I needed to find, and this I needed to have covered. So let's spin up the app. And I'll go npm start. Yep. And yeah, the app is running. So here it is. And let's also start a new terminal. And I'm going to npx cypress open to see my tests. Now I will keep this code coverage opened. Oops, I'm already here. I'm going to keep this code coverage report opened, and I will look into, let's cover the components part. Let's see if I can cover this. And I have this board.js, which is basically this view. Let me new board, which is this view. So there's a lot going on here. I can delete the board, I can add a list, I can create a new task. If I have two lists, I can move that task from one to the other. Not sure why it doesn't work now. Yeah, I found a bug. Yeah, so that's a good one. Maybe I need to create one more. Not sure what's causing this bug, but if I refresh it, I'm pretty sure it will work. No! How did this happen? I did not have this bug in my app last time I checked. So that's a mystery. How is this? Huh. Did I change something in my app? I don't think so. Okay, I'm pretty sure I was able to drag and drop stuff in my app, and it seems to, oh, unknown custom element. Did you register the component correctly? Maybe I updated something. That's interesting. Or maybe I broke something while I was trying to instrument my app. Although, yeah, okay, so there's an error. Well, that was not the plan for today, to check this error. Yeah, so we're probably not going to get to 100 with this board.js, probably. I don't remember all the details of how this app is written, although I wrote that, but I wrote that like in May or something, and then I basically left it living its own life. But let me see, because I have this grunt file, which what it does, it uses Browserify and Babel or Babelify to transform my app, and when it does that, it actually uses Babel to use the Babel plugin Istanbul, which instruments my app. So basically adds this whole new set of functions that that are basically listeners to whenever I go through my app, and Cypress collects all the data, and then it will send it to the coverage report or something like that. But let me, yeah, so what I did, the only change that I did was that I added the instrumentation. So maybe if I leave it out, maybe this will change things. So let's leave this out for a moment, and I'm going to build my app again. I'll go here, and that will be npx grunt dev. Yeah, okay, so now when I refresh it, it's not running, of course, because I didn't start it. npm start. I could have just opened a new window for that. But let me refresh that, and I still get the error. So, but I don't have coverage in here, right? Let me see, coverage. Nope. So the app is not instrumented at the moment, but the draggable thing is not working. That is strange, because I didn't do anything with this app. So yeah, okay, I'm going to debug that later. I'm not going to do that now. Let's look into the test. So basically, we'll just skip the whole drag and dropping experience. There's a lot of stuff to cover even without that. So I think we'll be good. So I'll build my app again. Yep. And I'm going to start that. And let's see if the coverage is there. Yep. So now when I have this window coverage, I can see that my app is instrumented, and I can collect coverage data. If you're interested into seeing how that works, I definitely recommend checking out Cypress docs on coverage. So that would be docs, Cypress.io, and if you look for code coverage, they have plenty of examples on how to work with code coverage, how to instrument your app. And this video, this is a great one. If you know nothing about code coverage, this would be one to watch. At least the first half is you're going to get that aha moment of what it actually is, because it sounds almost, yeah, it sounds ridiculous that you could use your end-to-end tests to somehow know which function has been called and which wasn't. But it is real, I promise. And it is actually fun. So let's get into the fun part. So okay. So now I have my. We covered boards last time, and we added these two tests. So these two were the ones that helped us achieve the coverage for the collections, for the collection JS. So that would be the collection of all the boards. And now we are going to test. Let's create a new file for that. And we're going to just be creating tests for the board's experience, for the board. Yeah, let's just name it board TS. So for the board view, so the one that I just showed you. And I'll open this, and I'll be just looking into this one. So I have a sockets object, and the sockets object is what it does is if a WebSocket comes, it's going to digest that and do some kind of action. So let's see what kind of action it does. And for starters, I'm just going to what am I going to do? Open board view. And to do that, I'll add a before each hook, and in that before each hook I'm going to do two actions. The first one is going to be a request, and that would be a post request to my reset endpoint. So what this does, it resets my app. So my app is just using this JSON database. Whenever I create something, it's going to write into that JSON. So if I add a new board, voila, here it is. If I delete that, it's going to delete. And what this endpoint does, it's basically to get this data JSON to this state. So first I'm going to reset, and the second thing I'm going to do is to create a new board. So basically the action that I'm doing through UI, I'm going to achieve via API. And I already have a function or a custom command for that. And it's going to be add board API. So I'll add board API. Well, this is small, right? Let's make this bigger. Okay. So I'm going to add board API, and I'm just going to input a name. So that would be add new board. Okay, new board. And after I do that, I'm going to visit, open my app, and the URL will be board and slash and the ID of my board. Well, this is why I have this command, because I'm actually going to look into the file. Whenever so this is the custom command, add board API, right? So I've defined it by using commands, Cypress commands API. So I'm going to add a new command that is going to be called add board API. The parameter or the argument is going to be name, and then there's a request made to the post API board with the name. And then what I'm doing here is to basically take the response body, and I'm going to push that into the Cypress env object, and there I'm going to store that. So that's my method of doing things. So I'm going to reference this here, right? So because whenever I open whenever I create a new board, the URL is board slash and the ID of the board. Let's make this bigger too, actually. So it's going to be more visible. Well, actually, I don't need this view that much because I'm going to be running my tests soon. So Cypress, e2e, and boards. I have already added some TypeScript definitions to the boards, so I basically create a custom storage. And I wrote a blog about that, so if you want to read about that, I have this on my blog, the webpage you should see in the video. So go check it out. There's a whole approach that I kind of made up, and it helps me basically manage all the data that I send or that I generate by using API, by using live server. So whenever I fire a request and the server is going to generate some data, I'm going to store that in the Cypress e2e, and then I'm going to use it in my tests. So let's see if this board TS does what we want so far. So let's click board. I'm going to open that here. And yeah, it doesn't, because it says that my custom command is not a function, and that's because I forgot to import that. Let's import support commands add board API we want to do, because that's the one. Now when I save this, bam, I got it. But something's not right. Something's not right. I cannot see the name of the board. The board name should be over here. Oh, okay. That's, yeah. So this is funny how my app works here. So I visited the URL. You probably don't see it that well. Let me make it bigger. Oh, I cannot. Oh shoot. I made it smaller. Let me zoom in. Oh, okay. So I'm going to click like a moron here. Okay. Okay, good. So yeah, I have opened this URL. So this is not a good looking URL. And yeah, what I did in my test was I opened Cypress e2e board. So let's look into what's in there. I can actually use that in console. So I'm going to type this in, boards, and yeah, it's a whole object or whole array of objects. So I forgot to define what I want to open. So as you can see, this is an array of objects, and the first one is having some properties here: created, ID, name, etc. And I want to open the ID. This is the ID I want to use for creating this URL. So let's do that. So the index number will be 0 because I want to look into the first object, and the ID. So this is the URL I want to visit. And voila, I got it. So here's my new board. Great. I think this view is... yeah, I think this should be better. Alright, so test does what I want so far, and I can see that my coverage plugin is working. So there's before all hook, the coverage is here. It collects the data after each, after all. It's generating a report. So let's look into the report, and I'm going to refresh that, and I can see that the data has updated. So just by opening my app and creating a board, I can see that there are 17% of statements are covered, and etc, etc. So this is good, right? So let's see what we can cover. So there is this task created. Check the task is created lists in current board. And this is the sockets object. So do I want to start here? Maybe. Oh, this is a mess. This is not even alphabetically ordered. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's start with the basic stuff. Let's start with something that's more obvious what we want to do. So for example this add list. So this is going to do something, right? So it looks into the storage, and when I add a list, it's going to fire up some API. So let's see if I can do this. Oh, not this. I'm going to actually quit Slack. That's not what I want to show here. Okay. So the next action we are going to be, I'm going to add a log, because that's something that's good to do, and I'm going to add a task. Let's change also this, right? It adds a new task, and I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to add a list. Oh, sorry, I'm going to add a list. So yeah, add a list. And let's find a selector here. And for some time I have been talking how I don't really want to add data attributes selectors, because I'm planning on refactoring this app, and I used in my course, I just used these data attribute selector like once or twice just to demonstrate how that works, but I actually relied on these classes a lot, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I did that, and I didn't want to change anything in my app before I have that app covered. But I changed my mind. I actually think that I should add this right now, because when I refactor that, I want to make sure that I refactor it in a way that nothing breaks in the process. So I'm going to add a data selector right here. So this is the class, the h3 element, and when I work with an app, when I work at Slido and I test, I usually don't even have to look into too much of the code. Basically, we have an Angular app, and that has a markup file. So basically the HTML file, it has a TypeScript file which has all the functions, and it has a style. I think it has a style file, so the CSS file or something of that sort. And basically the most important part for me to add a selector is the markup. So what I usually do is just I hit Command-Shift-F and try to look into the thing that I can see. And the thing is the h3 element, which has a class of createListTitle, and it has a text of add a list. So sometimes I just use the text of my element. So I look into my app and I can see that in the index.html, there it is. There's my element. So let's add a data cy attribute and add it, give it a name, add list. I think that's appropriate. Now when I save it, I'm going to save my test as well. Now when I added it, I actually don't have to build my app again because the markup stays the same or is static. So let's see if my element is here. It's not. So do I have to build my app again? Wait. maybe I did something wrong. But I think my element should already be here, right? Create, or is it here? No. Did I save this? I did. Create list title. And seems I am on the right place, but it doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem that my data CY attribute is shown here. So this is odd, because the H3 element should already have this data attribute, and it doesn't. And I wanted to show some good practice here, and somehow I'm not showing it. Create list title. Do I have the create list title somewhere else? Shouldn't be. No, it's only in one place. It's one class. I have it right here. And yeah, let's look into the browser. Refresh that. Let's see. Oh, is it? No, it's not. Oh, look, it's here. H3 data CY list. So why don't I? Oh, I think I know what's going on. Okay, let me see. Yeah, here it is. Okay, got it. So the reason, or not really the reason, I don't know the reason why this is happening, but the Electron browser is kind of acting up. And I witnessed this in the past as well. So whenever I have my console opened, or this DevTools, whenever I have it opened, and I change anything and run my tests again, the state of this panel is going to be frozen. And I don't know why that is. So that's why I preferred using Chrome for a couple of last weeks, months, because it doesn't happen in Chrome. And I don't know why it happens in Electron, but it just does. Let me make this bigger, zoom in. Sorry, I just don't know how. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, and let me see, and I can use selector playground for that. Let's see. And yay, here it is, data CY list, and I could just copy this. Cool. So let's add this. Okay, get data. That's a lot of that's a big sideway road that we did here. So let's add that list and get back to the coverage. So I'm going to get that, I'm going to click on that, and after I click on it, my input is going to be visible. So let's inspect this one. Let's see the input, and I'm going to type into that input. And that's the placeholder, add list, create list input. Let's find that in our markup. Again, it's just right here. And data, and I'm going to add the attribute data CY. Ooh, add list input, probably. So what should this be? That's probably fine. Okay. Add list input. Now I save this. I try to. I'll save my test and let's see if the console actually behaves. It seems it does. Input, yeah, data CY is here. So Electron for some reason was frozen. Not sure why. Okay, let's continue with the test. So we have clicked, and now I'm going to get my. It's going to be data CY. Should have just copied it, right? Add list inputs. Okay. add list input. There I have it. And I'm going to type new list because I'm boring. And yeah, add new list. And no, I actually need to type enter, like enter. And when I do that, that is going to be it, right? For the test. Well, actually, it's not going to be it because I should probably make an assertion. Oh, this is actually interesting because my coverage report is going to change, right? And I have covered this part. I can see that it's over here. And that's cool. But I haven't written a single assertion. I just made some actions. And I wonder what kind of value my assertions provide if my storage changes and it does what it should. But yeah, my UI is not checked, but my coverage doesn't say anything about how many assertions I have made. It only says something about what actions I have made and where I have been. But it's my role as a tester to make sure that I have also proper assertions in place. So for example, when I do this sequence of actions, sometimes in my test I'm very thorough. I want to make sure that when I click on my data CY list, that when I do this action, that the state actually changes, that this thing is actually visible, these create list options. So let's do that. Just create list options, and I'm going to add another data CY, and that's going to be add list. Yeah, options is actually good. Yeah, that's what I meant. This is why I thought the classes are sufficient, because they're quite descriptive. They show a description of what the thing is. Doesn't work that well for real world apps, because they usually, for the UI, they use Tailwind or Material Design or something like that, and those classes can change as that framework or that whole system gets updated. So classes change their names, and it doesn't work anymore. So let's do that. Let's check that. I'm going to refresh my test. Just going to use selector playground here, and I'll create list. Why? Should show my selector, or did I forget to save that? Create list active. Oh wait, the options are actually only this portion. Okay, but I want to create list active. So okay, so what I should write a test for, if I want to be thorough. So after I click, I'll do this. Add list is active, and I should get my element. Get this. What should I get actually? Because I want to make sure that this create list part has this class. Or is the class enough? I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of getting into yeah. Let's just check this for now. I don't want to get too complicated. I decided just now. I don't want to do this way. Maybe I'm lazy, maybe I should do that. Or maybe I should leave this kind of stuff for the visual tests. That should probably be a good way to go. Like, not to use tests, the end-to-end test, the functional test, so much that it will get overwhelming. Okay, add list is active. No, let's type the list name, and I'm going to enter. But I have created that. On the other hand, I have created this, so let's check it. If I have it already, let's use that. So yeah, the options, I want to check if they are there. It wouldn't be nice if they weren't there. So let's write a test for that. So I'm going to type log options are visible. So let's get those options, and they should, not shadow, should be visible. And after that, I'm going to type the list name, and after that I want to make sure that the list is visible. And I think I already have a data ID over here, because I generate these list IDs. So it's going to take from the API. So whenever I create my list, I'm going to generate the ID, and it's going to get attached to that list, so I can see it in DOM. Data ID, I wonder if I should like name, give, when I'm already using data CY, whether I should use data ID. Although, well, let me know what you think. I mean, the data ID is actually referring to ID. The data Y is something I use for my tests to select my elements. And data CY equals some kind of number, probably wouldn't be the best selector. So let's just add a selector for this list, because I want to make sure that it is visible. Oh, this is going to be hard to find. Oh no, it's here. Good. And I'm going to add a data CY, and selector will be list. I think that's good enough. Is it? Probably. Okay. So I want to make sure that the list is visible. And let's get that data CY. I'm just going to copy this. Data list should be visible. Yeah. Okay. Now my test is running, and I have a couple of assertions. Oh, I mistyped. I actually did that in the past too, and I was surprised how this actually works. If I forget the ending bracket, it still works. That's good, but I mean, I should fix that, right? Alright, let's get to the coverage. Let's go back to the coverage and let's do that. So I have covered this. So this is the whole function of add list. And so far we haven't covered the error. So if there's an error, it's not going to cover that case. And also if I start typing and then I stop typing, this is not covered. So let's cover this. I'm going to so add a new list. It should, what are we going to cover? It should, yeah, so basically what this does, it it whenever I think what this does, whenever I click on that and close that, or I think I can also use escape. Nope. Whenever I click on that and escape that, I think, yeah, it should just delete whatever I typed in. Not sure if that's good or bad. It's just the way it is. And this part of code does that. So if the new list title, yeah, I can't probably read that, but this is what it does. It's just going to set the new input active into the false state. And oh no, it's no, I'm sorry, it doesn't, I don't think it does the thing with deleting the text. It just makes this not this part disappear. I think that's it. But let's check that with the tests, because I really forgot. I wrote this app, but I forgot like all the nuts and bolts, and it is easy to forget when it's this kind of spaghetti code. And if you want to check out that spaghetti code, you can check it out on my GitHub. This is the Trello app. So let's start typing new list name and close it. Okay, so I'll open my app, and then what I'm going to do is basically look into this action. Yeah, so I'm going to copy that, paste it, add a list, and then what I will do is, well, let's see what I will do. So I have my test, and I'm going to click on this X button, right? So let's click on that. It's SVG button, save, cancel. So it's under the add list options. So let's find a selector for that. Add list options. No? Oh, it's, yeah. Add list. Here it is. Add list options, and the cancel button. Let's give it a data CY. And that should be, what should it be? Do I name it just cancel? Is that good enough? Yeah, I think that's good enough. I may have more cancel buttons in my UI, but then I can just filter them out by, well, this would be the cancel button under the data list options. This would be the cancel button on some other, yeah, under task. So I think we're good here. I'm just going to name that cancel. So let me rerun this, and I'm going to, yeah, and I went too far. This is good enough. So I'll copy this, go back to my test, and type cy get, oh, not like this, like this. I'm going to click on that button, and yeah, I'll just save that, and let's look into the coverage. What does it say? I'll refresh this, and since I haven't ran the whole test, it's going to show it like this, but I didn't cover this, and I wonder why that is. New list input active. What does the new list input active do? I should probably look into that. New list title and new list input active. Let's look into the app because I'm starting to get I'm getting lost here. So I'll have my board, and I'll open my view tools, and in my view I have this board, and this board has these different kind of options, and there's new list title, and if I type there, it's going to update this, and new list input active is true, and if I click on this, it's false. Okay, so it doesn't seem like we're doing, yeah, I think my assumption was right. So if this new list title, if it is false, and what does the new list title do? New list title is this, if it's false. Oops. New list title. Oh, if there's nothing. If it is false, then the new input active should be false. Should be set to false and then return. Am I just going... No. Am I just going too fast here in my test? Because that was the problem last time. I ended my test too soon. I think so. I think that might be the problem. But maybe it's not. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't seem like this part is triggered at all. So let's see. Let's see if yeah, let's just do it like this. Let's just wait for 2 seconds. Just to test our hypothesis. So, okay, let's look into the report. It did nothing. Ooh, I cannot seem to get what this does. It's just a simple function. If this list title, this new list input is false. Oh, but I did cover something. So there's this function, cancel new list, and that one gets fired, because if new list title is empty, then input active is false. And the cancel new list, yeah, this is just what sets, this is what gets triggered when my cancel button is clicked, I think. Let's look into the cancel button. This cancel button, yeah, on click, it just cancel new list. So this I did, okay. Why did I put this in here? I totally forgot. And I don't remember what this does. Oh yeah, I think I remember now. Maybe let's see if I remember. I think if I don't do anything and I try to save, if I don't input text, it's going to prevent me from creating a board that will not have a name. So if I actually click save, this is the case that I am covering here. Okay, so, and this would be, and close it, this is good. So let's create another test which will be very similar. And that test is going to be, in this test we are going to start typing a new list and then try to save it. That this is also not proper naming. It should probably be like something like it should not create a new list when I try to save it without the text. So let's create a new data cy save. That doesn't exist yet, so let's create that. It's going to be data cy save And I'm going to save that. I'm going to save the test as well. Let's see what happens. Okay, it did close the thing. That seems to be working. Let's look into the coverage. Yay, got it. All right, so let's now run all 3 of my tests. 1, 2, 3 in 3 seconds. Nice. And let's refresh this, and cool, we got it. We got our add list function covered, we got our cancel new list function covered, and we haven't covered this. Let's do that. And this is one of my favorite things to do in Cypress. I love this so much. So let's write a new test, and we are going to be triggering an error. Let's it shows an error message when there's a network error. Yeah, okay, error twice. So I will do this. I'm going to add a new list. I'm not going to check that anymore because I already did. And so these are the actions, right? I added a new list, but what I will do, I will intercept my request. That's going to be the post request of the URL of API/lists. And what I want to do here is to force network error. That is going to be true. And I'll give this an alias of create list. Let's run only this. And I made a typo somewhere. Oh yeah, of course. This is an object, not a... Oh, cool. So the error has appeared, and did I ran? I ran only the test. So I did cover some more. So it shows the error, it shows the message text, or it triggers this part of the function, but it doesn't actually go through this one, right? So when I show the error, let's see, run the test, creates a new list, there's an error creating list, and that error disappears. And that the functionality of how it does it's in this function, set timeout. Basically after 4 seconds the error message show is going to be set to false, so the error message will disappear. And what I need to do, or what would be a nice thing to do here, is basically to type the error message appears, and after it appears it should also disappear, right? It shouldn't be... Where is my... Okay, there it is. So this is the error message, it has an ID. I'm just going to use that. I'm going to get that. Oh, where'd that go? Error message should be visible, and error message should also disappear. Should not be visible. Now let's see. It's visible, that assertion has passed. The second one has passed too. And now our report is covering this line. So that's great. That's awesome. Okay, so now when I run all of my tests, then we are covered. Let's look into the report. And good, we got it. That's great. So, a couple of things that came to my mind as I was writing. So, start typing new list and close it. So we did cover the code. That's all good. But I still kind of want to cover the UI because there's an element, this one. And whenever I close this, the element appears and then it disappears, and I think I should probably cover this behavior because we are relying on the thing that we want to make it. We want to make that it is visible and it is not visible. So when this, so two things happen, right? The active class, it's there and it appears and disappears. And the second thing is there's a style and there are these options. So, and when I close that, this create list should it should not have this class active, and these options should disappear if this is not active. These are the two things that happen whenever we interact with the element, and I want to make assertions for those because when I close that, I want that thing to disappear. Also, now I'm thinking we have added this data CY element on the H3 on the heading. I wonder though, where are the even listeners? They are on the H3 element. Okay. And how about here? Okay, there are no even listeners here. So, okay, so this is a proper place. I was thinking about adding this data CY over here. And I'm still thinking about it. Okay. Maybe this active part. Maybe I should skip that. I don't know. Yeah, I wonder. But I definitely want to check this part because this appears and disappears. And let's just check that. So the options. So that would be the options. So whenever I click away, the options disappear. Should not be visible. Do they actually stop existing? No, they're just change their style to display none. So in these two cases, these options should oops, and copy this. In these two cases, these options should disappear. Now let's run the test. All right, good. So this added nothing to our coverage. So let's keep it within the list function. So we can add list, cancel new list. What else can we do with list? So there are task, update board name. Oh, that's a good one. Update task name, update list name. Okay, we can update list name. And we can delete list. That would be a good one. delete list, update name. Yeah, let's do those two. And afterward, I think I can just rename this to lists, because that is what lists do. Okay, let's fold these, and we wanted to update list name. Okay, so let's go ahead and update list name. So we are going to visit. I wonder if this intercept is going to stay with us in the next test. I think it doesn't. I'm asking this because I often use these roots, formerly known, and intercept in my before each hook, because I usually group my tests according to what API they use, and I kind of am doing that also here, although I'm focusing more on the code here, on the application code, not on the API, but de facto I'm doing that. And yeah, we'll see. So I'm going to update list name, or maybe we will not see, because the way I'm going to write this is I'm going to use my custom command, and I'm going to add list through API. And what are the options here? Why they are not showing? Maybe I should restart the server. Well, probably not. It was showing some other options. Oh, maybe I should just start typing. So the board index is going to be 0, and the number is not assignable to string. Oh, this is not typed properly, because the board index should be number. Oh my. Okay, the add list API, it should be board. So here I'm using my cypress.env boards, the storage that I have created, and I'm just in my custom command, whenever I want to create something, whenever I want to create a list under my already created board, instead of putting the whole ID, I just look into my storage that I have created, put the index number, and take that ID. This is what I do. So board index number, I'm going to save this. Why are you still complaining? Oh, missing semicolon. What's the problem? Number. Yeah, the title is missing. Okay, maybe just that is the problem. Title, yeah, okay. So the title will be new list. Wow, this is boring. Yeah, but I mean, who wants to think of names during a stream? I certainly don't want to spend time on that. So I'm going to add this, and then I will be visiting my app, and then, well, let's see what happens then. Add list API is not a function, of course, I forgot. But I am already so familiar with this error that I immediately know what to do. Like, it gets confusing in the beginning, but afterwards it's like, oh damn, I forgot again. Okay, so what we want to do is click on this, and this is actually an input element. It looks like some kind of something, but it is an input element, and we're just going to type in something. And yeah, let's type in. I'll add a log and change list name, and I'm going to get my element, and there's a lot of stuff here. Let's just close, and I want to, in that list element, where is that? Here it is. There's an input, and I want to give that a nice data CY attribute. So that would be list name. And let's select that with our selector. Playground, got it. Here it is. Change list name, and I will type new list name. New list name. Okay, renamed list. And then I'll type, then I will type enter. I think that should be sufficient enough. New, okay. I forgot to clear that. So let's, well, I mean, technically it still works. But yeah, let's first clear that. And seems that in terms of coverage, where is the cancel new list? I think it was somewhere here. Axios delete list. No, this was the delete list. I think it was up here, right? Update list name. Here it is. So let's refresh that. Yep, we got it. And but I want to yeah, I will probably do that. I want to look into my API endpoint. I want to check if this actually gets fired. And I'm really thinking now, like, if I saw this, actually, if I got this covered, so if I have my API covered, should I even write that test? Should I write an intercept command, intercept my patch API? What is it? API lists. Give it an alias of update list, and then wait for that update list, and its response status code should equal, what should it equal? I think that was, yeah, 200. Oops. Now, did I write that properly? Let's see. Yeah, I did. So yeah, should I do this? Does this add any value? Nothing happening in the chat. I don't know. I think it does. It feels like it does. I haven't been playing with code coverage that much, to be honest. Like, I just started with that, and I just started with doing that in Slido. Like, I'm implementing coverage. I was doing that for the whole last week, and I finally got it to work. Yeah, that was awesome. But and until that, I was just, whenever I was writing my test, I would combine the UI test and the API test. And I do that here. I combine the UI, so the actions and all that stuff, and I check the API because I want to make sure that this is, yeah. And it would probably give some value if I actually checked, not the response, but if I actually checked the request, because I want to make sure that that my application is doing what it's supposed to. When I click into the console and look into the details, I want to make sure that this body is actually this. Because I'm not checking anything afterwards here, I'm just checking the status. So if the body would be like completely different text, it would still pass. I don't know why would that happen, but I mean, isn't that what testing is about? We want to make sure that everything works as intended. And if the API changes for some reason, yeah. Oh, hi, RetroBear. Confirming the response code. Feels good. Yeah. it feels good. Everything is working. We got that green check mark. That's awesome. Also, yeah, you should try coverage. This also feels awesome. Like, oh yeah, I got this covered. So you tend to do that as well in your test. And are you more, are you a developer, or you're solely aimed at testing? Because I am probably something that one would call a tester, more of a tester. I write a lot of code like this, but as for development or of like developing apps, this is as far as I got. Like, I'm doing some tinkering here and there. I'm trying to rewrite my blog for past 2 days. I tried Svelte and Sapper, and I also tried Next, because this is also Vue, so I would think that I'd be familiar. It was a lot of pain. Like the Svelte, it's so awesome, but at the same time the Sapper, it just wouldn't allow me to do what I want. And that might be my knowledge, because of my lack of knowledge, and it probably is. But at the same time, I feel like whenever I was trying to find help, I wasn't able to. Like, there are not that many people working with that. Whenever I work with Vue or React and I need to solve a problem, I can find a solution pretty fast. The only problem is me getting to that solution, like actually understanding. But that's like, that's the less problematic part. Okay, so yeah, we've been going on for an hour and something, so let's just cover this one and wrap it up. So I want to not delete task, I want to delete list. So let's delete list and see if this actually works. So let's just copy this whole thing, and I'll updates deletes list, and I'm not going to, I'm going to intercept. Let's delete list. I'm going to add it via API and open my board, and then what will I do actually? I'll click on these 3 dots and then click on delete. So let's find these 3 dots. That would be the list drop down. So let's actually use this and just find the drop down underneath. So get list drop down, and I'm just going to click that, and when I click that, I'll find this element with this text. So log click on delete list. So I'll just contains and delete list, and I will click on it and delete. I think that returns 204. I'm not sure, we'll see. Also, RetroBear, you are a developer, writing tests to Cypress as well. One dedicated tester. Alright. And does the tester also write tests? I wonder. Because I hear this is not really a thing that happens too often. Or I mean, that's not what I meant. But the tester role is much more like, if you call yourself a tester, that can mean a lot of things. It can be, yeah, you can be a test automation engineer, and you can be, yeah, there's a lot of things you can be. You can be a test analyst, you can be, yeah, you can be a lot of things. Contains delete list. Let's see why this doesn't work. I feel like it should. Yeah, not sure. Maybe this is the problem. It's yielding the thing before. Yeah, it was the problem. Okay. Delete list. I made a typo. And the status code was 200. Oh, okay, so more on the exploratory part. Well, this is what I talk about. Like, you can be more on the exploratory part, or you can be more into the writing tests and stuff like that. Oh, and cool, we got it. So let's now run everything, and I'm curious about that report. Well, curious, I mean, I already know what's going to happen, so I have covered the delete list, cancel new list, adding a new list, and updating it. So this is alright. And we've got to 43, so we started at 17, so that's cool. Alright then, I should wrap it up. I've been going on longer than I used to, and I can hear my baby crying in the background, so I should probably help my wife with getting her to sleep. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you, RetroBear, for interacting. That's nice. Hope you guys liked it, and see you next time. I don't know when that will be, because obviously holidays are upon us. So yeah, I'll see. Follow me on Twitter. You'll definitely know when I will be when I'll be streaming again. So thank you. Bye. Oh, you too. Bye.